Welcome to a very special Jurassic Park Hammond collection review and tier ranking. We've got, surprisingly enough, the Brachiosaurus. I just checked online on a whim to see uh, if any Hammond collection listings have been updated on Target.com, and lo and behold, multiple stores near me had the Brachiosaurus in stock, or so the website would lead me to believe. Until I traveled to a store and I was told the listing was an error, and I traveled to another store and I was told the listing was an error. And then I started a Target account, and then I requested one for pickup and I was told it didn't exist. But I got transferred to a store, finally, that actually really had one. So I managed to actually get it. So that's cool. Big, fairly heavy box overall. No window on this guy because this Brachiosaurus apparently comes in pieces. There appears to be, yeah, an image here. It appears this wee chap is broken into a bunch of chunks. It's really weird to me that this one is out because we've got like the Irritator, the Metriacanthosaurus. We've got I can't even keep track anymore of like what upcoming Hammond releases there are or if they're out. Like Target's updated now to show some of them with like October release dates, like the baby Stegosaurus and the baby Rex, and I think Hammond and Nedry are in that wave. And that was revealed so long ago. Those figures are listed on Best Buy, but I've never actually seen them in a real Best Buy. And now they have a street date of October. Whereas this guy, this Brachiosaurus was revealed on like Behind the Gates for the first time. Like what, a month ago? 2 months ago, maybe? I can't keep track of time. I've been moving. It's starting a new job. It's chaos. And yet this guy comes out first before all those other figures we've known about for way longer. It's just kind of wild to me. I don't know. I don't know why it happened that way. Well, let's get this thing open here. Seems to me, yeah, we can just kind of peel this guy open here at the top, it looks like. Don't want to like ruin the packaging, but I think the honestly the mainline Mattel figures have better packages. Like I have the box for the original Brachie, which is right behind me here, that we'll take a look at for comparison eventually. And with like that's got the art on the front, the redrawn scene from Jurassic Park. I think that makes for a way better box than just this like diorama shot. Not that this box is bad by any means. It's just like, I mean, it's pretty standard for Hammond collection to be like just showing you the figure and not have special like art on it. And the boxes are good in their own like respect. Okay, what do we got? We've got, this is what we got. We got a big old pile of stuff. We got a window. Okay, wow. We got all sorts of things. What is this? How to make a Brachiosaurus. Oh, this is weird. We got like a, I don't know what you call this. It's like a artistic rendition of the scene, but done in like low res. Weird. Yeah, this is cute. Private tour of the Jurassic Park Genetics Lab hosted by the park's creator John Hammond with Mr. DNA. And this serves no purpose to anything. We'll be keeping that. Maybe we'll find some place to put that up behind me somewhere. So this is like a bunch of individually secured pieces here in cardboard. So we're gonna have to, yeah. Here's the torso. Do a bunch of unwrapping and like cutting of ties and stuff. So the body here is just a big chunk of like hollow plastic. Okay, so like the neck has like ratchets. You can probably hear that. So it's not like the freely sliding neck of the other Brachie. A bit different. Hopefully that means it lasts a little bit longer. Like I could already feel this Brachie's neck getting loose, probably from just the weight of the neck and the head. It's constantly putting like a little bit of pressure downward on the neck joint there. And I can feel that like one day this brachii is going to start drooping because it's really close right now to doing that, I think. A big old leg. Oh boy. Yeah, so a bunch of this stuff is just like loose in bags, and that other section over there is specifically secured. So the detail on these pieces looks pretty nice. Like a lot of like nice wrinkles and stuff. Way more detailed than the mainline original figure behind me. Like it's a thing that doesn't translate online. Looking at pictures of the figure, but it's just it's way wrinklier. Like comparatively, the other figure is much smoother, which I would not have guessed. My initial impression is that this is a fair upgrade over the baseline figure. We got a multi-section tail. Looks like we got a rotational piece here. I'm not sure how you're supposed to align this. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Rotational tail piece that's got one particular alignment where it, looks the best. We got a balls and socket joint here in the middle of the tail. And then the big chunkier swivel part at the end, which is, there's like no rotate, or no, does the tip rotate? No, it doesn't. There's just like you can wag the tail of the original one. So more articulation there. Not that like Brachiosaur tail articulation is a huge deal, but like having the tail, the midsection on a swivel does allow you probably for a tripodal, like a tripod pose, to have it like feed from a tree, which is cool because, that's the thing we want the brachii to do. Oh, the connection in the butt here is really weird. It's like turned slightly. Strange. Yeah, I'm not sure. So this has like particular orientation to it. There's like a flange on the side there. I don't really see a corresponding flange in the body here necessarily. Well, there is an F marked inside the torso, and I don't know necessarily why, because I'm not sure what that's trying to tell me. Oh, I guess it's pieces, because there's like an A and a B in the leg and arm spots inside where the joints will, where the limbs will connect up, so you won't see those when it's actually assembled. Get these other pieces out here. We've never done a review video of something quite so large, so it's going to be a little weird, just like maneuvering it around, for the video. At least I have a little bit more space at my new place for this kind of stuff than the old one, my old setup. But it's like a good amount of new space in the apartment, but the streaming recording area is really not that much bigger. Mostly I just have a better spot behind me to put stuff. So the head and neck, this is definitely something we know is designed a bit differently. So this is soft material. You can see like flexes, when you move it. So it's like basically a soft sleeve, and then there's like a spine inside basically. But I've seen this mentioned before in reviews. I think I watched Andy's dinosaur reviews. The spine like really doesn't do anything for it. Like it doesn't, as far as maneuvering it goes, it really just doesn't work, because like the flesh of the neck buckles weirdly if you start to bend the spine. It's just not very practical or flexible. I'm fine with it though. I don't really care. I like these as display pieces with the option to like, change their pose every now and then a bit, which is fine. Got some nice head detail. A lot more paintwork on this than I might have anticipated. We've got like glass eyes or whatever. We've got a mouth that opens for appropriate levels of surprise. My mouth, at least, doesn't seem to close fully. I don't really care that much. Don't know if that's a defect or just the way it's designed. Not a big deal to me. Yeah, like the nose is like paint on it and stuff. Compared to the other Brachii, that's a pretty hefty increase in detail. Holy smokes, that's actually way more of an upgrade than I was expecting. That's insane. We'll take a closer look at that. Um, Actually, it's probably easier to take a closer look at it now while I don't have this attached to a figure. Mr. Brachiosaurus, come to me. Oh god. How do we make this work? These guys are just too big. Yeah, the just the difference in the head sculpt is actually like a lot. The face is much longer on the new one, which I think is more accurate. That's my poor attempt at getting these built in frame together, but it's gonna have to do. Neck length about the same, maybe slightly longer on the new one, but yeah, the head is a fair bit longer. And it's mostly, yeah, so basically we've got like some extra length coming from the base of the skull back here on the neck, and then the jaw is longer by a fair bit, by a good margin, just a lot longer nose. And the facial profile looking directly at the camera. I don't know how well that translates because I'm way back here holding these guys, but the profile from the front is completely different. The new one's much thicker, which I think is probably more accurate. We're going to assemble this guy at the end. We're not going to fully assemble him and then discuss accuracy, I decided just now. We're going to discuss accuracy piecemeal. So one thing I always wonder about with sauropods is if they get feet anywhere near correct. And generally speaking, no. I mean, here we've got 4 painted nails on every foot, which is probably not correct for a Brachii. I'm not entirely sure. I believe Diplodocids are the ones that have the like most advanced / weirdest feet. They have like 1 nail left on the foot. I don't actually know as far as a Brachiosaurus foot what that should look like, but I'm pretty sure it shouldn't look like this. I don't think I have good visual reference material for the feet because I don't think it exists. Well, this is an image of the CGI model. I think you can pretty much see that the feet in the CGI model are basically more or less what you see here. Yeah, you've got like kind of an elephant pad on the back of the feet and the toe bones like down the front. That looks like the front limb to me. Back limb has more of an actual foot shape to it, which I think is in this picture. I'm willing to believe that I can see a more proper foot between Hammond and Sattler, which is how it should be for a sauropod. They essentially walk on their fingers on the front limb, and then the back limb actually has like a foot, which is weird, but that's how it works. I'm going to put one of these on the body. Yep, okay, so the limbs just snap in there. There's a particular orientation to it that kind of like limits the movement. There's like the little flanges here basically that like align with curves on the limbs so that they can't just spin completely around in space. Yeah, let's put the other limb on here so we can compare. Yeah, there's no way to like mess up the orientation because one channel is wider than the other. Yeah, so the limbs go on pretty simple, pretty easy. Elbow rotation, knee rotation, swivel on the ankle. It's pretty good. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I feel like nah, I was gonna say I feel like the back leg might be a little too big. but the uprightness of the Brachiosaur is actually not dissimilar from this in JP. So the chunkiness of the back thigh actually looks appropriate just looking at the image on screen, I think. So that seems pretty good. Okay. Definitely not going to attach to the head yet, though. In terms of the head, not much we could take from the small image. But, okay, one small quality control thing I noticed just now. So the soft part of the neck attaches to hard plastic up here, and the seam where it connects right here by my finger is ever so slightly offset. Ever so slightly. So in terms of metal quality control, this is better than usual, but it is still not a perfect connection. The concavenator was much worse than this, and that one was particularly egregious. All right, let's look at some other reference material. In terms of color, seems fine to me. We might get a better look at color with the animatronic here. Yeah. Let's see if we move. Okay, here, hold on. We need to do something like. Okay, we'll just do that. It's fine. Slide you over there. Yeah, so you've got lighter under the jaw, kind of that creamy color, and then a more almost like I would say that the Brachiosaur has kind of some purple in it. I think the figure's not bad in that sense. It's like the same kind of, I don't know what color, like a slightly pinkish gray. I think that's a better way to phrase it. A pink gray with peach on the underside of the jaw and the neck. I think it does a pretty good job of being like that. We got darkened eye socket. I think the eye socket on the Hammond collection figure is a little too dark compared to the rest of the face. Like looking at the animatronic here from the feeding scene, like the eye socket doesn't stand out as being overly dark because there's kind of a gradient with like these spots on the face. Like the mouth is definitely lighter than the eye socket, but it's not so like raccoon-eyed, where I think the toy is like that. I also the nose having a really distinct color palette here looks very dissimilar from what we're seeing on the animatronic. The nose here to me like doesn't have any colorization differences. This looks the same as like the tip of the snout is like back here. I don't know why it's so like brown on the figure, unless it's supposed to represent the sick Brachiosaurus, which maybe has more of colorization to the nose there. We'll have to maybe find a reference image for that. I don't think I have one here in the few I grabbed. Not too much to be said about the mouth. Is what it is. Seems fine. The jaw, the shape of the nose looks good, where it kind of has like the slight upturn at the end. I think the thickness of the bottom jaw looks good comparatively to the nose. Like the head proportions look good to me. What do we got here for other reference material? We've got, yeah, this is just the little like face-on shot. Very small. I probably should have blown it up, but I couldn't find a bigger one. Yeah, I would say the maybe the neck should be slightly thinner. Actually, I think it's fine. I think it's just kind of where the joint up here is, like where this part of the neck connects to the rotational part of the skull, makes it look fatter up here, and I think it should be a little more streamlined, but again, it's like it's compromises for the sake of the figure, working. Because like the widest part of the head and the top part of the neck should be the mouth, because it looks kind of like he's got a big smile going on here, and for the figure I'd say the neck back here where the two parts connect up is the widest part. Not bad, like that's a compromise to accuracy for the sake of making a toy work, right? Now it's kind of interesting too, because this is the behind the gates pre-release image of the Brachii, and I would say the eye socket color looks a lot more natural, and the nose doesn't stand out as much to me in my mind either. Like there's much more of a raccoon effect going on in the actual figure here. Um, Also of note, there's paint on the nose, giving him kind of a weird mustache. Look at that. That doesn't seem to be present at all on the figure, and that's like an additional thing added to it, like an additional layer. Very weird. I wonder almost if that's a mistake or like some weird packaging defect. I don't know. It's very strange. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's just kind of one example of an image of the figure from pre-sale that like you can't draw too many conclusions from that, but I'd say that in some sense looks more in line with um the film creature. I don't know. Kind of weird. I looked at a few other images of it online too, and I couldn't find like any good image that made the nose here look like it should be colored differently. So I think that's an embellishment they added to the paint detailing, or a concept art thing maybe, or like maybe even a Fallen Kingdom Brachiosaurus thing, because that does have different colorization going on. So yeah, I'm not sure where that's stemming from. Well, why don't I go ahead and get this assembled? I went ahead and did it off video, but it was not too bad. There's um, some obvious connection points for the neck with a particular orientation. There's like little rounded pieces that come off inside the neck, and you can see the grooves that align with those on the interior part. Tail and the legs just snap in like we've seen. So that's the fully assembled figure. It's big. How big compared to the other one? That's a good question. Oh, another detail I'm just noticing here, a little bit different. The back, like this guy. I don't know how well this will show up on the video. He's got a very pronounced spine sticking out of his body. That's weird. Do we see such a thing in the film? Well, not in that shot. Can't see it. Oops, that's from one of the old videos. Yeah, we don't really have any way to see it here. It is strange though. That ridge feels very unnatural. All right, I'm gonna set him over here, or her, given that we have no evidence of Brachiosaurus breeding in Jurassic Park. Okay, I've got them side by side, not in frame. I don't think at all. There we go. Now they're in frame. Length. These two figures are pretty much in proportion to each other. The real difference is the detail. Their tails, I would say, are essentially the same length. The body heights are essentially the same. I would be honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the original Brachiosculpt was used as like a base, and then they added like more detail on top of it or something. Because like the shadow, the outline, the proportions are all very similar. Even like the thickness in the front. I just don't know a good way to show this stuff. See, it's like carrying a couple of fucking dogs. But yeah, like the body proportions are very similar. Um, which means that they can go well together. Is like if you want two, slightly different looking brachiosaurs for say the lagoon scene where they're crossing over the water. Well, you got a nice pair there with slightly different colors. But they're still very much in proportion to each other, slightly different poses and stuff. So So they still look like they belong together, especially from a distance where like the difference in detailing isn't as extreme as it is when you're like holding the figure and you can feel the difference in the wrinkles. Um, yeah, I guess the biggest difference is the shape of the skulls, but you can again chalk that up to individual variation or just be okay with it. I think this is a very high tier figure, but it is also very expensive. I think this was what, $80 or something, 85 maybe. I don't remember. To be honest, I don't care what the price of these is. I see them and I click buy, or I just grab them off the shelf and check out, and I don't give a shit. um, if I was gonna get into collecting I wouldn't get into collecting these Hammond collection figures if I cared about the money. That's just the truth of it. Like, well, we got to rank this guy. I think this is a very good figure. I think it's got to be an S tier, right? Like that's pretty good. Yeah, like this is more accurate than the Anki, even though I think I might like the Anki figure more just as a figure. The Anki is much less accurate to what it's representing, I think. Um, so I think this is easily ahead of the Pteranodon and the Pachycephalosaurus. In fact, man, I'm thinking we might need to flatten this tier list again already, because now we're adding like another thing to S tier. I thought we've got like a really nice looking Metri and Erie coming out. Like, I think we gotta make some changes maybe. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna commit to it. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna redo this tier list, and we're gonna hopefully stick with this, because I think we just need to try and like flatten it out a little bit because it's just too top heavy. I think this is how we're redoing it. Also, surprisingly balanced. I didn't plan it on having it be so balanced. I was just thinking about what natural breakpoints felt correct to me. Um, yeah, the female raptor is definitely like the bad cutoff. The original D tier was the Amber Collection Rexon copies, which are poor, and the Amber Collection Tiger Raptor, which is a mediocre repaint. That was C. Now that gets moved down to D. The female raptor gets moved down to D because that's a very, very poor figure. It's just a repaint, and the paint job is just not good. I can, in good conscience, move the para down to D. So the para stays as the bottom of C tier, and then what was B tier essentially moves down to C tier, which is the three other raptor figures in the Dimorphodons, and then basically half of S tier falls into A and half of A tier forms B tier. So for B tier was kind of the one I was struggling on a little bit, but I think the Geosternbergia, the Galley, and the Concavenator make this up. There's a part of me that's tempted to put the male raptor up in B, but I think the feet just hold the raptors back, and the hands are also weird. And I don't think I can separate the JP3 male from the other raptors for that reason. Like, it basically it feels wrong to me to put the raptors in the same tier as like the Gallimimus. So I think they form a good barrier for C. I think the Triceratops has to stay in A because it's a decent rendition of the trike. I don't think it can fall down to B with like the Gallimimus, which is a problematic rendition of the JP Galley. So I think, yeah, it stays there. Then we split off the Pachycephalosaurus as the new high A. I don't know. Should he be S? That's a tough one. I think we'll leave it in A. I decided on the Brachiosaurus going right behind the Baryonyx. I think the Baryonyx is a gorgeous figure. I think it's Like the Baryonyx figure in my mind does such a service to the Baryonyx design from the film because it makes for a great looking figure more than it makes for a creature in the film that looks good, you know. Um, I still consider the Dilo the top S, the Amber Collection Dilo that is. So yeah, it basically came down to where should the Brachii be in relation to the Rex and the Cerato? I decided to drop the Rex down below Ceratosaurus. I think the Ceratosaurus figure is a better rendition of the dinosaur it's supposed to represent than the Rex is. The Rex has oversized feet. The colorization around the mouth is kind of weird. Makes it look like she's been eating popsicles. I think with new feet, the Rex would go ahead of the Cerato, but I think I've flipped on that, and the Cerato currently goes ahead of the Rex. Which we may get new feet because they had new feet in the Gates crowdfund, which is currently bombing. It's like the last day, and it's not going to make it. It's like 30%. So yeah, Brachii ahead of Ceratosaurus. That feels correct to me. So that's our tier. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully we can do more of these soon, but I mean, the Brachii kind of snuck up on me, but I've been watching for the other ones for so long that honestly, I have no idea when anything releases for this goddamn line. Like, Mattel needs to have, people are asking for like a roadmap for JWE 2. Like, those things, at least when they come out, they come out. They're easy to find because they're game DLCs. I want a roadmap for the fucking Hammond collection figures so I know when the hell to start looking for things. Like, they trickle out in pre-sales and like early sales all the time, and then just like if you're trying to actually buy them off a store shelf, good fucking luck. It's very frustrating, but so far we've been mostly able to stay on top of these. Oh yeah, there's a Corythosaurus too. Like, I can't even, like, I'm struggling now to keep track because they like figures are announced faster than they're released. We had the Carnotaurus that leaked, which is like, it's the first Mattel Carnotaurus I actually like too, which is just great. Because I love me some Carnotaurus, but I'm also like, because it's like a dinosaur I really like, I'm like a stickler for the figures. So every Carnotaurus I've seen on a shelf from Mattel, I've been like, nah, I don't like it. Nah, you could do better. I don't like this. So I haven't bought any. I haven't bought any Herrerasaurs for the same reason, because they all like, the original Herrerasaur sculpt is like dog shit, and then the new Herrerasaur sculpt is good, but the paint job just looks bad to me. It's like, dude, if they did a Hammond collection Herrerasaurus, I would shit. That would be the thing. Like, oh my god, give me a Jurassic Park the game paint scheme on like an actual paleontologically reasonably accurate Herrerasaurus, and not the weird humpbacked thing from Jurassic Park the game. Like, yes, please do that, please. Such a good color scheme, and just a weird model that doesn't really do Herrerasaurus justice. Jurassic Park the game, that is. Yeah, that's enough rambling. Let's end this video.